Welcome to the Webby and O'Neill channel. Today, transfers, club ownership, what's going on there, and all things Manchester United. I've got Andy Mitten, United We Stand editor for many, many years, reporter, many articles and reports in many countries, don't you, Andy?
I do, Tom, right, for different people. Still do the fanzine. Been doing it 30 years now, but my main job is writing a lot about United, but travel around the world. I've just done the new cover for 442 magazine, big piece on Manchester United about what's going on inside the club. There's a lot of optimism there, and when it came out last week, when everyone was annoyed, didn't feel like the right time to be putting it out there, but I do my work. I've developed contacts by being a journalist for such a long time. But it's not just United. I went last year to Sinaloa in Mexico, which is famous for the drug cartels, to track down Maradona. And it wasn't my idea. My editor just said, why is Maradona in Mexico? What's that about? Go and track him down. And he sent a photographer, a war photographer with me from the New York Times. Do a lot of Spanish football, a lot of European football. Started last season in with Lazio's ultras. They're pretty heavy people. Their leader had just been shot dead. And a lot of Italian journalists said, they hate journalists, you're not going to get near them. Initially, they were very standoffish with me, and then they said, when you get to Rome, come to our headquarters. I said, I'm not getting there till midnight, come to our headquarters. A bit like you years ago. And I was basically going to Rome by myself to go to the headquarters of this notorious group at 1 o'clock in the morning. And at first they're like, you're not coming on the curve with us. And eventually they're like, yeah, you can come in with us. And then in the second half, you can stand with us. And then it's a fascinating piece of journalism. I think I should be telling stories like that. It doesn't have to be about United.
Yeah, but you only got the confidence because you know all what used to go on here at football.
Yeah.
You know, you built your reputation up by being involved.
I wasn't a football hooligan, Anthony. But
well, you mentioned drugs and all that. So you've been involved in that, haven't you?
With drugs?
Yeah.
Never taken drugs in my life. The closest I've been with drugs, I mean, like I say this.
Of course you are. Say what you want. You're on the Webby and O'Neill channel.
All right. How's about this then? I've been to Strangeways prison.
There you are.
I've been to Strangeways prison twice in my life. Once was with a team of former Manchester United players to play against the Strangeways prison team. And I played and we won 3-2. It's a pretty, well, you'll know about Strangeways. It's a pretty,
oh, I do.
You don't forget about it. And the second time was to go and see you one Christmas.
That's right.
And I went there, and it was the first time I'd visited a prisoner inside Strangeways before. I got there and they said, right, you're allowed to spend £10. So I thought, all right, I'll buy Anthony some Snickers, some Mars bars, a cup of tea, and we'll have a nice little chat. And there was maybe 20 people in the visitors' room. And the prison officer came through and said, the dog's going to have a look around, have a sniff about. Just
for drugs?
For drugs, just to check that you're okay to go through. This dog just came straight for me.
Because he smelt drugs?
Because he smelled drugs.
On you?
On me. It's okay, mister, it's okay. We'll put a second dog through. Second dog, woof, straight to me. So then
they always say the quiet ones are the worst, Andy.
So then they said to me, okay, you've been twice, the dog has come for you. You can either put a complaint in, or you can request a half-hour closed visit where the prisoner's brought to you, and you're the one who's in like the cage. I said, oh, I'll do that. But you know, you can't be buying him a marathon or a Snickers or a Mars bar. You know, you're the one behind glass. So I'm just laughing to myself. Truthfully, I've never taken drugs in my life. So I go through, and there's 3 other lads who you wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of, said to me, you know, that prison officer, we need to have a word with him. Don't you agree? And I'm like, what on earth am I getting into now? And I saw you came through laughing, and then you told all the lads about me, because I've probably got a reputation for being straight, which I am.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
so have I.
In my defence, I'd been with lads the night before. One of them was smoking cannabis, probably on my clothes. What else could it be? Never touched it in my life.
No.
But I was laughing. The next game I go to, all the lads would go, way!
That's right.
Because you'd let them know.
You're here in these luxury surroundings. Totally different then.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, they were good times, Andy.
Yeah, no, it was
the
good.
times to look back. Now, the United We Stand fanzine has been going for years and years, and people my age, younger, older, have read it throughout. Now, you're the editor. You've done the footwork for it all. Rain, snow, all kinds of weather, all over. How is this pandemic affecting your sellers on a match day now?
Badly.
What's going on?
Vanished. All the sales we've got at the ground have completely vanished. We sell some in the newsstands. We're well down on that. So I was basically honest with my readers and just said, this is the situation. Because I can earn a living as a journalist. I've got a lot of work on, even in the pandemic. It changes slightly, you know, historical interviews and stuff like that. I can't travel. The last job I did before the lockdown was another hooligan piece, actually. I went to...
What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing now. I keep talking about hooligan pieces. I think that certain editors think that I'm the man to sticking on the ground. So I went to Bucharest, where there's a big argument going on there, and met Steaua Bucharest's active fraternity. And then we had the lockdown. At first I thought, if this is 2 months, we can get through it. And I'm thinking, we're going to get fans back in at the start of next season. And then that's not happened.
No.
We've had a big uptake in subscriptions, record printed, record digital. Still not as much as we normally have.
But for all those what are going digital and all that, for me, thank you. Hard work deserves it.
No, I mean, we work hard, but it only survives because there's a load of people putting a lot of energy into the mag. Your sellers, your writers, all these people putting energy. That's what makes a fanzine survive for so long. And it's the same for Barney, who does Red News as well. I just pray that fans can come back. I miss it. I miss the match day. I miss seeing people, well, even you sometimes. And you've got a community, you know, people come up to you and you care for these people. You might not even know the names, but you like them. And
well, it's your life, Andy.
The part of the match going
it's your life.
fan base. And
let's hope.
I miss that. We need fans back. And I don't know if you saw it. I asked Andreas Pereira in Lisbon, what's football? What's it like playing without fans? And he just went, shit. But it was on live TV.
Well,
and then, how are you feeling after this game? Oh no, we're this is on live TV.
Go. Well, it's only the same.
Well, it's true though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. Now, you get certain knowledge of what goes on because of your reporting and who you mix with and all that. Now, what's your view on the current situation with transfers at the club?
If this is going out this week, I know that the club are trying to still bring in Jadon Sancho. There's been an impasse for a long time. I know that the club would like to get rid of 4 or 5 players. The problem is they earn too much money, and they get clubs coming in and saying, can we take this player for £1 million? And the club's attitude is, if you're not going to pay anything or you're going to offer $1 million, then you're not putting any value on this player. And this player is still contracted to Manchester United. So United are in a rock and a hard place because they've given out these contracts to big players. Let's not beat about the bush. We know who these players are. It's people, you know, Jesse Lingard, Phil Jones, Sergio Romero, Andreas Pereira. I think Andreas is heading off to Italy. And I hope, because I like him and I know him, that he does as well there as Chris Smalling did last year. I went to see Chris in Rome. He was one of the best defenders there. I think Chris will probably go back out to Rome, but United will want the money. I think people watching this will be more interested in who's coming in. And if it's not to be Sancho, then who else is it? We're running out of time now. I think if the transfer window ended on Monday and only Donny van de Beek, if he'd only come in, good player that he is, I think there'd be a lot of disappointment. And I think you've been seeing that frustration from people who have been getting mixed messages. You know, I spoke to Ollie in March and he said, we're 2 or 3 players short of a team capable of properly challenging for the title. And they weren't filler players, they were top players. And now only one's come in. So people get frustrated and they say, why is the recruitment so bad? Why can't we bring players in anymore? What's the problem here? So that's how I see it. I wouldn't be surprised if another player comes in.
Okay. You say frustration.
Yeah.
You mentioned speaking to Ollie.
Yeah.
Ollie has his targets.
Yeah.
Them targets were identified a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, have the club bid actual bid for any of Ole's targets besides Van der Beek?
The way they would do it is they would first of all establish if the player wants to come to United.
You've already established, I have to stop you there.
No.
We've already established with several players, okay?
I don't think one bid has gone in, a cash bid, for any player, because I think that's what comes last.
But
to my knowledge, I might be wrong, but to my knowledge.
There's no bid gone in anywhere, what everyone out there sees, to your knowledge.
To my knowledge.
And you speak to Ole. You have a word here and a word there. You hear little things. I don't mean everything, right? The fact is, all we're hearing is people have worked out the agreement with the player. What they're on, what wages. And then we hear nothing else. Why we're not hearing anything else, and who is that person negotiating with a long list of players, right, about their fee, about their wages, and getting that sorted, because we've heard. So who is that person, Andy?
Dortmund have said we're not going to sell for less than 120 million, right? United, to my knowledge, are not going to pay 120 million. Who is in charge of negotiation? Matt Judge. So he's probably got 10 players, templates spinning where he will be asked to be kept abreast of situations of certain players. And that's all well and good. But we're now within the final week towards the end of the transfer market. And I don't think fans have got a lot of faith in the club's recruitment system based on the recruitment after Sir Alex has left, based on overpaying at the time for Marouane Fellaini right at the last, what seemed to be panic buys with Radamel Falcao coming in. I would still expect a player to come in. Can I prove that's going to happen? Not at all.
Okay, Andy.
But I think there'll be a lot of disappointment if another player doesn't come in.
Well, Sancho.
Yeah, good player.
Yeah,
great player.
Good player. Now, you had Kingsley Coleman down as a replacement for Sancho. Where did that come from?
So I knew about that. A very good source told me that story.
From within the club?
No. That United were interested in him. And you do get other stuff from him within the club, or you stand stuff up with the club. And I sat on that story for 3 weeks. And then I thought, I'm a journalist, I'm going to write it. So I checked it out. I stood the story up. And that means you check it's not bullshit. And it was confirmed to me that, yes, we, Manchester United, are interested in Kingsley Coman. And I knew that Kingsley Coman was interested in joining Manchester United. United were interested in him perhaps as a loan. So the only bits of hard information I had were what I told you. So I wrote that story on the Friday. And then other journalists spoke to the club, confirmed my story, the BBC, Sky. United are interested in Kingsley Coman. At no point did I say United are signing Kingsley Coman. And within 10 minutes of me writing that story, I'm getting slaughtered on social media because someone has twisted it very slightly and said, United have had talks with Bayern Munich. And someone at Bayern Munich said, that's not true. Now, I'd never said that. I said United are interested in him and the player's interested in joining United. I then went to Lisbon to cover the Champions League for television. And then I see this kid called Kingsley Coman scored a winning goal in the European Cup final. And part of me is thinking, that's absolutely fantastic for him. But the chances of getting him out of Bayern Munich now have just become very, very difficult. So I stand by the original story, absolutely. I wonder whether United have left it too late on Sancho, that if it's not going to happen, and I still hope it does.
Sancho. Yeah. You say leaving it too late.
Yeah, well, if it does happen...
7 months ago.
But Coman, now...
Too late?
It was too late because he's just scored the winning goal for Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have let a player go. Someone said to me last week, Tony, United have lost the dark arts of transfers. So if Fergie wanted a player from Tottenham, that player would know that Man United want me, Ferguson wants me. They knew where he was going to play, who was going to play around him. The dream was sold to the player. So that player then goes to his agent and says, I want to go to Man United.
But it's all different now, Andy.
So it's all different now.
It's all different.
It's all different.
And that's down, right, to the people running the club.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on because there's a subject, right? What everyone is there. Off the back of the transfers, a lot of questions that come up are due to the owners and the way they've decided to run our club. What's your opinion on the ownership of this club with the Glazers and how it's run? And that includes Woodward.
Yeah. Well, I interviewed Woodward in October. Got slaughtered for it. I'd do the same interview again and I'd ask him exactly the same questions again. And I owe that to our readers to try and find out what the truth is. And I think our readers get that. I think I gave him tough questions and I got 90 minutes with him. I would have liked 4 hours with him, but I got 90 minutes with him. I agreed with some of the stuff he said. I disagreed with other stuff that he said. I'm not going to start only interviewing people who are popular or people like. And sometimes as a journalist, you know, you can do an interview.
Yeah, but
no, I'll come to it. You'll get a reaction. Great interview that. It's because they like the person. For journalism, that's very dangerous. You should be interviewing people who are unpopular as well as being popular. The Glazers, I don't think that takeover should ever have been allowed to have happened with a highly leveraged takeover. It was allowed to have happened. They did nothing illegal. Someone said to me today, actually, you cannot blame the lion for killing the gazelle. And they are arch capitalists. They've seen an asset here. They've realised the potential in that asset. They've massively increased the commercial revenues of that asset. Am I comfortable calling Manchester United an asset? Something which is part of the community? Not at all. Do I know what the perfect ownership model is for a football club? I'm struggling with that one. I watch Barca very closely. The fan-owned Barca, the perfect model. It's the most political club I've ever come across in my life. It is riven with arguments. Do I think an ownership model where the owners take out massive dividends every year is good and healthy? No, not really. I'm not an advocate of it. Never written a word in praise of it. Do I think the benevolent model where you've got like City or Chelsea or PSG is a good thing? No, not at all. No. I think Manchester United create their own revenues from having a massive fan base. United don't need to be owned by anybody. United are big enough and profitable enough not to be owned by anybody.
Me and Webby on that subject, right? We always discuss it. Me and you have discussed the Glazers and everything since day one. Discuss this, discuss that. We speak to people on a match day. You speak to people, I speak to people, and it always comes up. Those what allowed about the Glazers, we want the Glazers out. Me and Webby have said on here, we don't know anybody what wants the Glazers.
No.
But the thing is, they come back, and you've spoken to me, and I've spoken to you about those what are shouting the loudest, right? That you should back the Glazer out movement. I should back the Glazer out movement. This person should. The thing is, though, Andy, you and I, as a fan, would back anything what was concrete idea put on the table by people what shout the loudest to get these out if we thought it'd work.
What is a plan B? Who's waiting in the wings to take over? There's nobody.
It's about...
So it's a concrete plan, but there isn't a plan.
There isn't a plan. Oh. The people who are shouting, right, I've got every right to shout.
Absolutely.
Every right whatsoever. But the thing is, there comes a time, Andy, it's 15 years, that if there's no plan, there ain't going to be one. And they're going to stay. But until someone stops shouting and comes out and lays it on, come on here. Go and see you. Come up with a plan.
Well, we
need a plan to remove these owners because they're toxic in this club. That's how I see it. Okay? The fans see it that way. But someone has to come up with a plan. And there hasn't been a plan in 15 years, as I see it. That's why I'm not backing anything. I don't want them here. I despise them. But why I'm not going to run around shouting because it's a complete waste of time. We need something. And the people what are shouting need to come up with something. That's how I see it. Your opinion on that, Andy? Do they need to come up with a plan and stop shouting?
So people protesting last year, for example. So you and I know what happened in 2005. And a lot of people fell out about that. You know, just on United We Stand, I lost a lot of my writers because of that. People fell out. They had massively different opinions, and they're entitled to those opinions, and I'd agree with some and not agree with others. Frustrates me that the protests are at the loudest only when the team are not playing well. Although the green and gold, the team were playing pretty well, but again, it fizzled out with a lack of momentum. It kicked off again last year, all the stuff on social media, and I saw people having a go at me because I wasn't leading any campaign.
That's right.
And I felt like you could lead these people and the mood would change with 4 straight wins or 4 signings, and suddenly you would be left high and dry. And I said to a group of lads, come and meet me at the ground. Come on the United We Stand podcast. Yeah, we will do. They didn't even turn up, Tony.
They don't.
They didn't turn up.
But
I stood waiting on the street for them. Yeah. And I would have said anything at all to them. I don't have any skeletons. Talk to me about anything you want. You can say anything you want to me. They didn't even turn up.
Well, on that note, he's there. Turn up. Speak to him.
All right, in the fanzine. People are entitled to the view.
On here. Come on here. Andy will come back on here. Or just come on here and see me and Webby. Come on. No problem whatsoever. And just get out your message and your plan to get rid of these. It's as simple as that. Because the shouting's got to stop. Because it's not getting anywhere. It's just causing division.
There's been divides for 15 years now.
Yeah,
I don't know any United fans who think that the Glazers are a good thing.
No one does.
To be fair, in lockdown the club have acted well.
On certain things.
On certain things.
Community things and all that.
That's taken time coming. You know,
in
the 90s and the noughties, the communication with fans was pretty dreadful. The ticket price rises were horrendous. Ticket prices haven't gone up here for a decade now. So I'm not saying that there's been some positives because it's pretty similar at other clubs as well, but I've got to try and see a balanced picture. So last week I was writing a story and the club's view is we've backed the manager. Fans aren't having that on social media. They're saying we have spent more than any club in the last 3 transfer windows in terms of their net spend. And you go, stand back from that. I think part of the problem with Manchester United is commercially they're very successful. And I see people at Barca and Madrid, and to this day they still think Manchester United are the best run club commercially. United have wasted a lot of money.
Of course they have.
Wasted a huge amount of money. And that's been down to poor recruitment.
Poor recruitment by the man sat in there.
And, well, let's not beat around the bush. Ed Woodward has sat at the top of that recruitment table. And I've looked him in the eye and asked him about that.
That system's not going to change.
And there's other issues too. I've written about Old Trafford behind us. It frustrates me, now's not the time to do it in COVID, that it's not been expanded. So I've seen Madrid doing the ground. I've seen Tottenham building the new ground, Arsenal new ground, Liverpool with the new main stand, Manchester City average 54,000 now, so I would never believe that when I was a kid. And United, it's like they've stalled on it. I think that ground could hold 90,000 and be full every week. And now's not the time for me to put forward that argument during COVID when we're not even allowed any fans back in there. But I always felt that if the Glazers are serious about their long-term ownership, which they've always maintained they are, show it. Put a few $100 million into building Old Trafford. Get that main stand done if you can. Add another tier.
I can argue with you all day, about a few $100 million, right? Because it will not take a few $100 million. Okay, that ground redevelopment, the way people are talking, how it should be, right? A few $100 million, not a chance. It'll cost £1.2 billion, the last estimate, right? And that's how it is.
To do what?
To do that ground.
To do what to it?
South stand for the start.
Yeah. I've not been given any figures at all.
It's there. The plans are there.
I've seen the plans.
I've seen the plans. I've been in there. I've seen the plans years ago, Andy.
Me too. They've been around for years.
That's right. £1.2 billion last time, and that takes into effect lost revenue, everything, the lot. All right. So the cost, we can argue about the cost, but it's not a few $100 million. And these haven't got it, and these don't spend the money. So you can forget that ground being redeveloped.
I'm not going to forget it. I'm
Right.
going to keep writing it.
Well, I want it.
I'm entitled to keep
I want
writing
it redeveloped, but
Yeah.
I'm forgetting it because I'm just like wasting my time. Now, going on, Andy, right? Recently, Roy Keane. Now, he's just come out right, on TV. You know, as a man, he doesn't mince his words. The honeymoon period's over, he says.
Yeah.
Solskjaer's got to win a trophy
Yeah.
this year,
Yeah.
or it's over for him.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, let's have your view, Andy.
I think he's got a point. I think a trophy would have done the world of wonders last year. Those 3 semi-finals were good, but United still felt a long way off winning any of those trophies. I think a trophy this year. I think the FA Cup would be brilliant this year. I don't think United are going to win the league this year. So what's the next best thing? It's going to be a trophy. I get the point about honeymoon period. I think fans have got to see a continued improvement. I don't think people would accept 4 wins in the first 14 games like last year. I don't think that would be good enough because Ole spent a lot of money as well. And by December, he will have been there for 2 years. And I've backed him. I've been criticised for backing him. I think he should be given time. I think every manager should be given time. And he should be backed and he should be supported. Am I convinced he's going to be the next world-class coach? I don't know the answer to that. I sometimes watch games and think, but he's the manager. And I'm not backing him out of blind loyalty. I've seen him go away last season to Manchester City and win twice, go to Chelsea away twice. There's something there. It's not like United are struggling to beat the best teams. They're actually beating some of the best teams. But last season, it faded away pretty badly. That FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea was a big disappointment. Germany was a pain in the backside, not just because I didn't get into the second game. And this season started with the Palace defeat. Ole's got to continue improving, and to do that, he's got to bring in more of the players that he wants. But also, United's team last year was the youngest in the Premier League. It's going to get better. Mason Greenwood, all things being equal, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, they're all going to get better. You'd like to think that Aaron Wan-Bissaka, whose form's dropped off a bit, is going to improve as well. So I see United broadly improving, and in my most optimistic mind, in a year or 2 or 3, Liverpool can't be as good as they've been. I don't think Pep Guardiola will be at Manchester City in 2 or 3 years' time. I'd like to see United taking over. I'm not into this idea of continually sacking the managers. And I think Ole, I'm not going to say Ole's the man. I've supported him and I'll continue to support him, but we need to see the evidence for him to justify his considerable salary.
Okay.
I think he's got a good eye for players as well.
Right, he's got a good eye for players.
I think he's a good person as well.
Right. And to win trophies, he needs players. Well, that's not his fault if they don't come in.
No, it's not.
Right.
No, it's not.
So,
I mean, I wrote a piece 3 weeks ago saying, you've got to help him.
Yeah, but let me finish on this. Ole wants the players. He's identified them. They can't come in. Okay? We've got the squad of quality is only small. All right? They're not going to be able to play 60 games a season. 11, 12, 13 players. What we consider, what we see as the main top players. Right? That League Cup, how are we going to win that? Are we going to win the FA? Well, the Carabao Cup. Are we going to win the FA Cup? Right? And carry on playing up to 60 games in the Champions League, in the league. Them 2 cups, the Carabao and the FA Cup, you've just got to wipe your mouth with them, right? And put in the younger players like your Menge, all that. All these players what are coming through, and your fringe players, okay? You've got to sacrifice something here because Ole is not being given the players to take us forward. That's how I see it, Andy.
I don't fully agree. No, I think you should try and win the FA Cup. Maybe sacrifice the League Cup. I thought we should have tried to have won the Europa League. Try and win the FA Cup. Make the squad better so that when you make changes at Norwich away, the level doesn't drop from 90% to 60%. That's why he needs players to come in. Because as you said, Champions League. It's very, very different to going away to Partizan Belgrade and putting a few kids in. You cannot do that against Champions League teams. It's going to be much more difficult to do that.
On that note, Andy, been an absolute pleasure. Please subscribe, Put your comments in. Press your like button. And because Andy's here, do not press the dislike button. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks,
Been a
Tom.
pleasure. Please subscribe, leave your comments, and please press the like button. Thank you.